Alrighty, so today for math, we are actually going to do two things. We are going to, one, make sure we know where all of our math items are, since we have 20 new friends joining this virtual classroom. And number two, we are going to introduce multiplication today. Okay, so one, we are going to make sure we understand how the math class works. Two, we're going to look at multiplication. So the first thing that I want you to be aware of is, just like it was in Ms. Sharp's room if you were there, and just like it was last 9 weeks if you're with me, all of your assignments will be on Seesaw. You do not currently have any activities yet because it's not scheduled to be released to you yet, and that is on purpose because I don't want you working ahead. So when you go to activities, yours is blank, but eventually your multiplication activity will be there. Also today, you are going to be getting an activity about Zearn. Several of you have already messaged me, how do I get on Zearn? And that's going to be released to you there. We will talk about that at the end, okay? So all activities are on Seesaw. Are there any questions about that? I didn't think so, because that's what you've been using. Good, okay. Second thing that you need to know is that we will use a math notebook pretty often. If you're in Ms. Sharp's room, you already know that, and you can use the exact same math notebook because we take the exact same notes, okay? So if you do not have your math notebook right next to you, go get it right now, please, because we're going to use it. So go grab your math notebook, please. I'll give you a minute to have that, and then come back with us with something to write with. If you do not have a math notebook, a blank piece of paper or a whiteboard are fine as well. If you do not have any of those items, I will be uploading a picture of the completed notes to Seesaw, and you can copy it down when you do get that notebook. But you will need a notebook in order to be successful in 3rd grade. So make sure that you take an opportunity to grab one of those. If you are unable to get a notebook, please have your adult message me, and I would be happy to deliver a pickup time for you to get one from school. Okay, but you will need a math notebook, so make sure you have a plan to get one if you do not currently have one.
I don't have one.
Notebook or paper, you got about 30 more seconds. Go and grab that. Make sure you have something to write with as well. We're going to be taking some notes today on multiplication.
Miss Susa,
Yes,
can I use my dry erase board?
that is perfectly fine, sir. Eventually, you might want something that doesn't erase that you can keep permanently, but that's a great idea to have for today. Get started, kiddos. So I'm going to switch my camera so that you can see my notebook instead of my face. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, we are going to take some notes on multiplication today. So the only thing that you're going to do right now is write down the title, multiplication. We're not going to take any notes until we watch a short video that's going to help define multiplication for us, but I want us to have our notes set up and ready. So go ahead and write that title, multiplication, down. And then we're going to watch a short video about multiplication. Those notes open because we're going to be writing down a definition of multiplication. We're also going to be writing down a few examples of those multiplication equations, okay? To start off with today, I want us to watch this short video, and this video is on BrainPop Junior, which you do have access to. So if you'd ever like to watch it again during your work time, remember you can always do that. But for now, we're going to watch this together. As we're watching, I want you to think about the answer to this question. What is multiplication? All right, what is multiplication? This is going to connect to some background knowledge you have about arrays from 2nd grade, and we're just going to change it into multiplication. Okay, here we go.
How many muffins do we have for the bake sale? Wait, Moby. You don't have to count each muffin. That'll take a long time. You can use an array to help you count. What is an array? An array is a set that shows equal groups in rows and columns. I can organize these muffins into an array. I can group them into 3 rows with 2 muffins in each row. Or I can group them in a different way. I can make 2 rows with 3 muffins in each row. Right. You can also make 1 row with 6 muffins. You can find arrays in a ton of places. You could find them in a muffin tin, or an ice cube tray, a pack of soda, a checkerboard, a window pane, and on a phone. Arrays make counting easier. But how do arrays help you count? Sometimes counting things one by one can take a long time, but arrays arrange things into equal groups so you can count sets. Let's see. There are 2 rows of daffodils, and there are 4 daffodils in each row. You can write a number sentence to find the total number of daffodils. 4 plus 4 is equal to 8. There are 8 daffodils. It's faster to add doubles than to count each flower one by one. There are 3 rows of tulips, and there are 3 tulips in each row. We can add to find the total. 3 plus 3 plus 3. Let's see. 3 plus 3 is equal to 6, and 6 plus 3 is equal to 9. Arrays can also help you multiply. When you multiply, you put equal groups together to find the total. Multiplication is an operation, just like addition or subtraction. But how do arrays help you multiply? We need to pick up 12 eggs for Grandpop. How many eggs are in there, Moby? There are 2 rows, with 3 eggs in each row. You can multiply to find the total number of eggs. First, write the number of rows. That's 2. Then write the number of eggs that are in each row. That's 3. The X symbol means to multiply. This number sentence tells you that there are 2 sets of 3. So the answer is 6. There are 6 eggs in that carton. Nope, it really doesn't matter what order you multiply, Moby. An array of 2 rows with 3 in each row is the same as an array with 3 rows with 2 in each row. There are still 6 eggs. They're just organized in a different way. Grandpop wanted 12 eggs. We only have half a dozen eggs now. Let's see. There are 2 rows of 6 eggs. That means there are 2 sets of 6. So 2 times 6 is equal to 12. That's exactly how many eggs we need. See, Moby, arrays can make counting and adding a lot faster. But I'm not sure we made enough muffins for the bake sale. I think that's enough, Moby.
Well, now I want muffins. Alrighty, so today you've been asked to think about the question, what is multiplication? What thoughts do we have to share about what multiplication is? What is multiplication? Would anyone like to share a thought? William.
Multiplication is when you add two numbers together in a different way. And
Okay.
so like so you could double the groups, like 3 plus 3 would be 2 times 3.
Nice. Multiplication is just addition, and you're right, doubles is a great place to start with multiplication. Awesome. Anyone have something more to add to that? What is multiplication? Something more to add? Aiden G?
That if you would add, it would be one number less from the top.
Say more about that.
So like if you have 5 plus 5 and you equal 10, you make the 5 at the top go away and turn it into a 4, and then you get 10.
You would turn it into a 2 because you're saying you have 2 5s. So 5 and 5, so there would be 2 of them. I see what you're saying. So instead of writing 5 plus 5, we would write a smaller number, which is 2, because there are 2 groups of that 5. Okay, thank you for sharing. Does anyone want to add more? What is multiplication? Alrighty, awesome. So we are going to go ahead and switch and take our notes now on multiplication. So you should be able to see my notebook. Go ahead and pick up your pencil. We are going to write down exactly what was shared by you guys. Multiplication is simply addition. So multiplication is and remember, if you need to make my screen larger, you can click on the pin video by clicking on the push pin or by going to the 3 dots and selecting the word pin, P-I-N, and it will make my screen the largest on your screens. So multiplication is repeated addition of, and I'll pause right there. Multiplication is repeated addition of equal groups. And that's the full definition. Multiplication is repeated addition of equal groups. I'll give you a moment to finish writing that. Multiplication is repeated addition of equal groups. Awesome. So now we're going to take a look at some examples of these, and we're going to relate it to what you learned in 2nd grade about arrays. Arrays are a great way to connect multiplication and addition together. So what we're going to do is kind of a bit of a drawing here, and you're going to choose a symbol. It's really easy for me to draw stars, so I'm going to do stars. But if you struggle with stars, that's okay. You can choose hearts or maybe a smiley face, just something that you can draw quickly, okay? I'm going to use this row right here, and I'm going to put 4 items in this row. For me, that's stars. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Whatever your item that you're drawing is, draw 4 of them. It could be 4 smiley faces, 4 squares, 4 circles, 4 hearts, whatever it is, draw 4 of them straight in a row in one of the identified rows in your notebook, or if you're using a whiteboard, in a straight row as Ms. Bram is showing us. And then we're going to create another row right underneath it. So notice that I'm going to keep my stars in a line. So straight down, and then another one straight down, and another one straight down, and another one straight down. So now we have 2 rows of 4. We're going to add one last row. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you should have 3 rows of 4 items. 3 rows of 4 items. Now, you guys know, just like we saw in the video, that we can count this as 4 plus 4 plus 4. So over here in the corner, here's what I like to do. I like to add my total. So I have 4 right here. There are 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to keep counting. 5, 6, 7, 8. So if I count these 2 rows, there are 8. If I count this 3rd row, I have 9, 10, 11, 12. So I can see that this array represents 12 items. There are 3 rows of 4, which we know equals 12 items because we've been counting like this for a very long time. It's time that we start making this quicker. And the way that we make this quicker is by using multiplication. So the first thing that we identify is that we have 3 rows. So over here next to my drawing, I'm going to write a 3. If you don't have enough room, you can write it underneath as well, down below, but I do have enough room, so I'm going to do it over here. This can be represented as 3 times, and we have 4 items. 3 rows with 4 items. So 3 times 4, because we have 3 rows or 3 groups of 4 items. We already know that this equals 12 because we've already counted up our items. 3 times 4 equals 12. Okay, so this is our example of what multiplication looks like when we're applying it to groups or to arrays. Now, we have said in our definition that multiplication is repeated addition, and that is true. So now we're actually going to write the repeated addition equation as well. Leah, a question?
And also, so like, you know the answer if you, like when you're counting up by 2s, like you skip one number, then it's 4, then you skip another 2, 8, then another 2, then it's 12.
You're jumping ahead of me, girlfriend. Nice job. So yes, skip counting by even numbers is also a way to multiply. So you guys have been multiplying for a really long time. You've just never called it multiplication before, but you've been doing this. Okay? All right, so this is our example. Now I want to kind of give it some labels. So I'm going to push down a tiny bit. I'll leave that example there in case we need to see it. And we're going to label what it is that we create. So let's first write multiplication equation. When you are asked to write a multiplication equation, it means you are asked to write a number sentence that uses the multiplication sign and the equal sign. Thus the word multiplication equation. I know that's a long phrase, so I'll give you a moment to write it down. The multiplication equation, as we just said, is exactly what we wrote. There is a multiplication sign and there is an equals sign. Multiplication equation. So we're just labeling what it is that we created. We also said that this was repeated addition. So now we're going to write down the repeated addition sentence that also matches this picture. Repeated addition equation. And you guessed it, repeated addition equations are going to have addition symbols repeated or over and over with the equal sign. We know that we created groups of 4 in this illustration above. So we will write how many 4s we created. We created 1, and there was a second group of 4, and there was a third row of 4. So this can be represented as 4 plus 4 plus 4 equals 12. Okay, these are the two that we're going to focus on today and use as a launching point for your knowledge. Multiplication equations are simply repeated addition equations written shorter. So we can see here that we had to use 4 numbers, 1, 2, 3, and 4. When we created a multiplication equation, we only had to use 3 numbers, 1, 2, 3. So it is a simpler or faster or easier way to represent equal groups. Instead of writing out how many times we're going to add an item, we represent that by saying we're going to do this number 4 3 times. That's why we have the number 4, 1, 2, 3 times right in front of us. What question do Seesaw? If you were not able to finish, it is on Seesaw already. So you can take a look during your work time and see this on Seesaw. And to prove it, I will show you right here. There we go. Beautiful. See? Seesaw. There's the notes. So if you didn't finish, you can use those on Seesaw, or if you ever lose your notebook, you have them right there on Seesaw for you. Okay? All right. So multiplication is simply adding the same group over and over again using a shorter equation. It's repeated addition. Okay? Today, you have an assignment that's going to help you explore multiplication. So very easy way just to get comfortable with multiplication. Inside of your Seesaw, so again, I'm going to go to our Clever. I'm going to go to Miss Sousa's classroom. Yep, the baby duck. I'm going to click on Seesaw. Awesome. And it has been released to you. Oh, and I'm in music. I need to be in Miss Sousa's class. Beautiful. Okay. Inside of your activities tab, there is an assignment called Intro to Multiplication. Intro to Multiplication. I'm going to go ahead and tell you we've already done number 1. Watch the Brain Pop Junior multiplication video. We've done that. If you are asynchronous, you'll need to log in to Clever to do this. So if you're listening right now to the recording and you weren't able to see that video very well, you'll simply watch it through Clever. Number 2, take notes in your notebook on multiplication with your teacher. We've done that. If you're watching the video recording, you will go ahead and take those notes already because you should have. Number 3, on your own. So this is your work. You are going to watch this very silly YouTube about multiplication for more background information. I'll tell you this video is very silly, but it's got a lot of really good information to it. It's about 10 minutes long, okay? So on your own, you're going to watch that video. You are also going to click Add Response and answer the 3 questions using the label or the pen tools. So after I watch this video, I am going to answer 3 questions. The first question, in your own words, what is multiplication? So you might use the label tool and type your answer. You might use the pen tool and write your answer. But you are going to tell me, what is multiplication? You are also going to tell one thing that you learned about multiplication today. It could be something from our notes. It could be something from BrainPop. It could be something from the video on YouTube. You're going to tell me one thing that you learned. Then you are going to tell me one multiplication fact that you already know. And if you say, I don't know one, you're wrong. You do. You just learned one right here. So it can be that one or another one that you already know and feel proud of. Okay, so these are the 3 questions that you're going to answer. You'll click on the check and you'll turn in that work once it is completed. Okay, so that is your main assignment for multiplication. There are 2 things that I want to go over with you because we have 20 new students, right? So I want to make sure that everybody understands something. So the first thing is that Zearn login has changed for everybody. All right, I have a new class in Skyward, so it has changed for you. So everybody in their activities also has this Zearn login information. This will show you how to log in to Zearn. The big change for everybody is that your 00 number that has been your login now has a B after it. Because since we have new teachers every quarter, your 00 numbers were already used last quarter, okay? So when you log in, if you were my kiddo, your regular 00 number is not going to work. You're going to have to add a B after it. So if my 00 number was 0029502, I would type 0029502B. That's for everybody, okay? The way you log into Zearn is still the same. You're gonna go to Clever, you're gonna click on Zearn, but your 00 number is gonna have a B after it, okay? These instructions are also read aloud, so you can hear them too, okay? So you have that to do. You have your introduction to multiplication. You also have your Zearn login. Questions about Zearn login. Questions about how to log into Zearn. Justin.
Is it a shift B or is it just like a regular B?
Is it what?
A shift B or like a regular B?
A regular B, lowercase b. Exactly how it looks in those directions. Great question.
Alright.
Okay. All right. So Zearn login. All right. As you guys know, you also started DMR. So at 12 o'clock today, your DMR will unload as well. And it's the exact same way for everybody, just like it was in Ms. Sharp's room. You're just going to log in and click on the DMR response on Seesaw. Okay.